Hello, and welcome back. What stands out to me most is the confirmed reality that Ethan's goal has always been to eliminate Sidwell, and that mission is now playing out in ways that confirm a major turning point for the entire season. I have always had a soft spot for Ethan, with that roguish charm he inherited and the way he carries himself like someone who has seen the rough edges of life but still finds his way back home. His return was not just a casual visit, it was loaded with purpose, and the personal stakes he carries make everything feel so much more real. After everything Sidwell put his mother Holly through, it is no wonder Ethan stepped forward with such determination. In my view, and I know some longtime fans might see it differently, but I have watched enough twists to trust my instincts on this. This decision to have Ethan take the lead on confronting Sidwell is a refreshing change from the original paths the story might have followed. It adds a layer of family-driven justice that feels earned rather than forced, and it sets this arc apart from the more impersonal power struggles we have witnessed in past years. Of course, the involvement of Sonny makes the whole situation even more compelling. Sonny has been the steady heartbeat of Port Charles for decades, the man who protects his own with a mix of street wisdom and fierce loyalty that I have admired through countless storylines. Seeing him and Ethan prepare for this new cover-up feels like a natural alliance born from necessity, and it proves that the writers understand the deep bonds that keep this community together, even in the darkest moments. I can picture the quiet conversations between them, the careful planning that must be happening behind closed doors, and it fills me with that familiar rush of anticipation. Some might argue that Sonny's readiness to help conceal the truth makes him too ruthless after all these years, but I believe it shows his growth and his unwavering commitment to keeping the people he cares about safe. It is the kind of protective instinct that has defined him since the early days, and pairing it with Ethan's fresh energy creates a dynamic that is both heartfelt and thrilling. The beauty of this new chapter, at least from where I sit after all these years of viewing, is how it creates such a web of fresh troubles that the secret surrounding the identity of Sidwell's killer may never come to light. That realization hits me every time I think about the upcoming episodes, and it makes my heart beat a little faster because it promises months of suspense without easy resolutions. In a town like Port Charles, where whispers travel faster than the wind, keeping something this significant hidden is no small feat. Yet the way Sonny and Ethan seem to be handling it gives me confidence that the truth will stay buried, at least for now. And that tension is exactly what keeps me coming back, day after day. I find myself asking, will this secret hold under the pressure of everyday life in Port Charles? The answer, based on everything we have seen unfold, is yes for the time being, because the careful steps they are taking show a level of coordination that feels different from the impulsive mistakes of the past. It is this kind of smart storytelling that reminds me why I have stayed loyal through every change in the cast and every shift in tone. And then there's the matter of Sidwell's legacy, which now appears destined for complete destruction, and that aspect alone opens up so many exciting possibilities. Sidwell arrived like a storm, trying to control pieces of Port Charles that many of us thought were untouchable, influencing lives and creating ripples that touched families far and wide. With his removal, all those carefully built connections and plans are starting to crumble, and I cannot help but feel a quiet sense of justice in how it is happening. His influence over certain powerful figures, and the way he tried to reshape the balance of power here, made him a formidable presence. But now, that foundation is being dismantled piece by piece. In my personal opinion, this destruction is not just about ending one man's story. It is about clearing the way for new beginnings and allowing other characters room to breathe and grow. Some viewers might think it happened too quickly, but I disagree, because the buildup has been so rich with conflict that the payoff feels deeply satisfying. It proves once again that no one, no matter how connected or intimidating, can truly dominate Port Charles forever. What adds even more heat to the situation is the ongoing stalemate at the PCPD, which has become almost haunting in its persistence. I have watched the police department stumble through investigations for years, sometimes getting close to the truth and other times missing it entirely, but this current paralysis feels particularly charged. Their inability to move forward creates this new layer of obsession and uncertainty that is pushing the entire story into even deeper territory. It makes you wonder how long they can remain stuck before the consequences spread further, affecting not just the immediate circle, but the whole community. In my experience as a longtime fan, these moments of institutional frustration have often led to the most memorable, character-driven drama, and I believe this time will be no different. The way the PCPD's struggles are amplifying the troubles around Sidwell's fate turns what could have been a simple ending into something far more complex and lingering. It is the kind of slow-building pressure that makes every episode feel essential, and I find myself thinking about it long after the credits roll. This whole storyline is creating such a tangle of new troubles that it truly feels like the show is hitting its stride in a way that honors its long history while embracing fresh energy. The confirmed elements around Ethan's mission, the collaborative cover-up with Sunny, the unbreakable secrecy, the crumbling of Sidwell's influence, and the haunting roadblocks at the PCPD all come together to paint a picture of Port Charles that is alive with possibility and risk. I love how it ties back to earlier themes we have seen: loyalty tested, families protecting one another, and the gray areas between right and wrong, yet it feels entirely of the moment. It reminds me of those classic revenge arcs from years ago, like the intense confrontations that defined certain eras, but with a modern sophistication that keeps it from feeling repetitive. Instead of flashy public showdowns, we get this quiet, calculated dance of protection and consequence, and that subtlety makes it all the more powerful. As I sit here reflecting on the latest episodes, I cannot help but smile at how the show continues to surprise me, even after all this time. My days are filled with the usual routines of retirement, but when General Hospital comes on, everything else fades away, because I know I am about to step back into a world that still has the power to make my pulse quicken. Will the secret of Sidwell's killer remain safe forever? I lean toward believing it will hold long enough to create lasting ripples, because Sunny and Ethan have shown they understand the stakes. How will the destruction of Sidwell's legacy reshape the alliances in town? It is already opening doors for new stories that I am eager to watch unfold. And what new obsessions will grow out of the PCPD's continued struggles? Those questions keep the air in Port Charles thick with anticipation, and that is precisely why I remain such a passionate viewer. There is something deeply comforting about knowing that no matter how many years pass, General Hospital still delivers these moments of genuine human drama wrapped in suspense. The characters we have followed for decades continue to evolve, facing challenges that mirror the complexities of real life while giving us the escape and excitement we all crave. Ethan stepping into this role with such conviction, Sunny's steady hand guiding the cover-up, the slow unraveling of Sidwell's once formidable presence, and the frustrating yet fascinating roadblocks at the PCPD, they all blend together into a tapestry that feels rich and alive. I have no doubt that more surprises are waiting just around the corner, and that knowledge fills me with gratitude for every episode still to come. I have always appreciated how Ethan brings a certain fearless energy to his storylines, and pairing him once more with Sunny's seasoned judgment creates a formidable team. Cullum has been lurking in the shadows, building his own web of influence that threatens the fragile peace in Port Charles. The latest story thread suggests that targeting him is not just about revenge or protection anymore, it is becoming something much larger. What we are witnessing is the beginning of a truly wild new chapter, filled with shocking changes and the very real possibility of a new disaster unfolding right before our eyes. It is the kind of high-stakes drama that reminds me of the show's greatest eras, when one revelation led to another in a chain of events that kept viewers glued to their screens for weeks on end. The way this new storyline is unfolding feels refreshingly unpredictable. There are hints of insane truths waiting to surface, truths that could shake the foundations of several families and alliances in town. I have seen my share of shocking twists over the years, from hidden identities to long-buried secrets, but this current arc has a different kind of madness to it, one that feels more personal and more dangerous. It is as if the removal of Sidwell has opened the floodgates, allowing darker forces like Cullum to step forward and create even greater chaos. In my opinion, this escalation is exactly what the show needs right now. It keeps the veterans like Sonny at the center while giving newer or returning characters like Ethan meaningful, high-impact roles that honor the show's rich history of family-driven justice. What truly excites me, though, is the sense that this path is leading toward multiple new deaths and the final reckoning for some of the most toxic villains in Port Charles. The story is building toward a point where the mad truths finally come to light, and those who have caused so much pain will be brought to an end. I know some longtime viewers might worry that too much violence can feel overwhelming, but I see it differently. After years of watching these characters suffer at the hands of manipulators and criminals, there is something deeply satisfying about seeing justice, however imperfect, finally catching up with them. Sonny's protective nature combined with Ethan's determination could be the force that finally cleanses the town of these lingering threats, giving the decent people of Port Charles a chance to breathe easier once more. Of course, with every bold move comes the risk of terrible consequences. This new disaster that seems to be brewing could affect not just the main players, but the entire community. I find myself wondering how far Ethan and Sonny are willing to go and what price they might have to pay. Yet, that uncertainty is what makes General Hospital so special. It never shies away from showing that every action has ripple effects, much like the classic storylines from the 80s and 90s that kept me awake at night worrying about Luke and Laura or the Quartermains. The PCPD's ongoing struggles only add to the pressure, making any resolution feel hard-won and earned, rather than handed over too easily. As I watch these episodes, my heart races with both excitement and a touch of concern for the characters I have grown to love like old friends. This crazy new storyline, with its shocking turns and impending confrontations with Cullum, promises to deliver the kind of intense summer drama that General Hospital has always done so well. More deaths, more revelations, and the potential end of several villains. It all points to a season that will be talked about for years to come. I truly believe the writers are striking a beautiful balance between honoring the show's rich history and pushing it forward with fresh, gripping narratives that still feel true to the heart of Port Charles.